What's up, Transformers fans? My name is Mondo, and welcome to Moonbase 84. And today I want to talk about Transformers issue number 2 from Image Comics and Skybound. And I'm adding this disclaimer in because this video is straight off the cuff. I had just finished reading this issue, and I wanted to share my thoughts on it as soon as possible. I don't know, I just got really excited when I read this issue. So it's unscripted, I'll fumble my words or whatever, but hopefully you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Now, I'm not going to dig deep into the whole issue because I really don't want to spoil it for those who didn't get a chance to check it out. But I did want to cover some stuff that takes place in the beginning. So if you don't want any of the issue ruined, please stop and watch this video after you read the issue. But to the topic I do want to talk about, and that is how I think the Transformers brand, as far as the comics, are in great hands, not just with Robert Kirkman and Skybound, but with Daniel Warren Johnson, the author and artist, of course, of Transformers. Well, I personally didn't have any doubts that the Transformers comic from Skybound would be fantastic because Robert Kirkman, but in particularly because Daniel Warren Johnson was helming the Transformers comic, and I love his writing and I love his art. So for me, I was all in, and I was excited that he was the guy to do the book. In the first issue, he had a letter to the fans saying how he was a big Transformers fan growing up and stuff like that, which was awesome. And I'm bringing that up because we've seen so many times celebrities, like actors, usually actors, being attached to a project and saying, oh, I'm a big fan of Batman or Superman or whatever. And they always say it, and then in interviews you can clearly tell after they say it, they really aren't. But to me, if anything proved that Daniel Warren Johnson was indeed a Transformers fan and a big one growing up, would be the beginning of issue number 2. And I'm going to explain why I feel that way. So the book opens on page 1, the top panel, obviously a nice day outside. And then we cut to Optimus, and he's peeking around a tree. And basically what he's doing, he's admiring Earth, because of course he's from Cybertron, where everything's metal and clunky. And here we've got, you know, the birds, the flowers, a frog. And he says, this world, what beauty. So he's in awe of Earth. And then we get the big page here of him looking out into the woods and the forest. And then he starts to say, it's unbelievable, but sadly, this art is kind of sad. He steps on a deer. But the thing is, Prime being Prime, he's very upset about this and disturbed. And he's saying he's sorry, and he's holding the deer. And then Spike comes and tells him it's an accident, but he is very shooken up. And then, I'm just paraphrasing here because it's kind of spoiling the comic, and I totally don't want to spoil it all. But you have come this far. And Spike's explaining it's an accident. And then Prime saying, where I'm from, everything is metal, just like I was saying. And it says everything sways when he walks on Earth, and that he should have known better, basically to look out for surroundings. And then he goes on and talks about the war with Spike a little bit between the Autobots and Decepticons. But the whole thing, all while he's very remorseful, and all the while, where's the page? He's still holding the deer, and he just puts it down when Cliff Jumper shows up. So why is this a moment to me that says Daniel Warren Johnson gets Transformers, or is a fan? So in this opening sequence of issue number 2, with Prime and the deer, and then his conversation with Spike, definitely tells me that Daniel Warren Johnson isn't pulling anybody's chains, like I mentioned so many celebrities do, and that he really is a fan and he really gets Transformers. And most importantly, so far that I've noticed, is that he gets Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime is a warrior, a reluctant warrior that values all life, and I just think this opening to issue 2 is beautiful. Now, what I personally hope is that as the comic progresses, is that we get the Prime, and not to sound like a G1er, quote unquote, but I hope we get the Prime that's characterized like the G1 Prime, where he's more like, he is a leader, he cares about everybody, living beings, but he's also a big brother figure. Like, in the G1, what I'm just trying to say, I guess, is that he had fun and everything. He wasn't a Debbie Downer. Now, I always love Optimus Prime, but in modern interpretations of him, he's lost that big brother vibe, that with fun love, he can have some fun, and he's just very straight and narrow, solemn, and just basically a downer in a lot of ways. I mean, I like a Prime that can play basketball. That's all I gotta say. That'll about wrap up the video. I just wanted to share my thoughts, how I think that the Transformers comic is in great hands with Daniel Warren Johnson, and again, I think the proof is an issue too. It is an awesome issue. If you haven't checked out the Transformers comic yet, I would definitely recommend it. Also, if you have been reading, what are your thoughts on the series so far? I'd love to hear from everybody. That'll about do it. And as always, thanks for docking.